What's going on, guys? Today we are going to be painting another one of these 1.5 inch micro splashers from Barlow's Tackle. Now, my last video we painted one of these because I'm going on a little crappie fishing trip with some buddies here soon, and I wanted to bring some baits for them. They said they had all the tackle and everything we'd need covered, but Baker Builds can't show up empty-handed, or at least without a gift. So last video we did a pretty crazy looking paint job. This one I want to do a little bit more natural, so I'm going to go for kind of like a shiner color scheme or something like match the hatch type of deal, some bait fish. So we're gonna go for a really shiny silver paint job. And our canvas here is so small that it's kind of hard to get a crazy paint job on such a small bait. But I'm going to do my best, and we're gonna see how many colors we can throw on here and still keep it looking natural. First thing I'm going to do is a nice base coat of opaque white. All right, next up, we're going to be doing some highlight gold, and we're going to cover the entire bait in that. Going to be a nice sparkly, shiny bottom layer for the other colors we'll be adding. All right, don't know if that looks a whole lot different for you guys on camera or not, but it's definitely reflecting a gold now, which perfect for what I wanted. That way the belly can kind of have like a white gold color. Now, you know, I can't do a shiny shad or shiner bait fish pattern without breaking out some of the iridescent turquoise. Plan for this is as light as possible because this bait is so small. I'm just going to do a real light dusting. So I'm going to keep the airbrush a little bit further away than normal. I'm going to kind of aim up towards the top half of the bait and let that overspray carry down and mix with our gold color. But very lightly. I'm not trying to turn the whole bait blue, just trying to add another element to it here. Very light. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the back a little bit heavier. All right, there we go. Gonna call that good. And then we can move on to our next set of colors, which I also think I'm gonna use some sort of scale stencil on this bad boy as well. I think for our netting or our scale texture that we're gonna add, I'm going to use this fabric, which I cut out of a bag that was for delicate laundry. We're gonna put that on there, and let me zoom in here so you can see how it adds such a weird, nice texture to it. I just can't figure out if I want my lines to go. I think I want my lines to go this way. Because again, we're keeping this a very subtle bait, kind of trying to do natural colors to it. So this texture ain't going to be, I'm not spraying black is what I'm getting at here. So it's not going to be a really vibrant scale pattern. We're just going to add some more colors on top. So I'm going to get this clamped to the bait, and then we can move on to our next color. All right, I think I got it clamped pretty good. These tiny baits are hard to work with. Hats off to you guys that build these things. Got it clamped pretty good. My plan is for 2 colors here that we're going to be spraying with this netting on. First one is going to be a little bit of this pearl satin gold. I'm going to try to keep it from getting too far down on the belly there, but not too worried about it if it does. Don't take much paint to cover these baits. All right, I'm gonna call that good there. We'll move to our next color. All right, next color up is going to be Wicked Aluminum. Going to go ahead and cover pretty much everything we just did with that gold, or that, what was it? Satin copper, yeah. Pearl satin gold, that's what it was. Everything we just sprayed, I'm going to give like a light dusting in this aluminum. kind of aiming more towards the top of the bait. That way, if some of that pearl satin gold still shows at the bottom, that would be good. All right, going to leave the aluminum in the airbrush because I think I'm going to spray it along the back. So let's hair dry this and see what it looks like with the stencil off. Don't know how well that's showing up. There you can kind of see it. Got a little bit of that gold. And you can see that our base colors are still showing through. So I think this will look pretty juicy once the clear coat goes on. Game plan now, we're gonna get this bait wrapped up. I'm gonna go ahead and spray some of this aluminum on the back here. Call that good there, and then we're going to switch back over to transparent black. Actually, first, before we do the black, we're going to spray the mouth and some transparent red. I think I'm gonna go ahead and spray the back of it as well. All right, camera's having trouble focusing here. Sorry about that, folks. Small bait. We're gonna call it good there on the red before I get carried away. Cleaning out the airbrush, and then we'll move on to our final color, which will be transparent black. All right, with our final color being transparent black, I'm gonna go ahead and darken up the back of the bait. We'll go from there. I'm gonna try to do this very, very carefully because I don't want that overspray to go too wild on the side of the bait since it's so small. Turn this a little bit more towards myself here. I also turned my air pressure down pretty low. When you're doing real fine detail, if you turn down the air pressure, a little bit easier to have control over the bait, or sorry, over the paint. Okay, gonna hair dry that real quick. And the last thing we got to do here is add some shad dots. If this is one of my first videos you've seen, I like to use a car sponge and I'll set the bait down on there. That way it doesn't get scratched on the table. Sometimes it's easier when the bait's laying flat to use stencils, which is what we're going to be doing here. These are my shad dot stencils, and I'm thinking this very first one I have, actually I'm looking for, might be that one. These are a little too basic of shapes. So I think we're gonna go for this crazy looking one. Adds a little more texture, if you will, to the bait. I'm gonna go in, well, I don't get my head in the way here. And I think I'm gonna go for the smallest one on the stencil here. Maybe I should just line it up just like that. That'd be about halfway back. All right, I'm gonna push it all the way up to the bill and then trying to have it basically centered on the bait since the bait's so small. Moment of truth. Pretty clean. I like it. All right, hair dry that, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Last thing that this juicy looking tiny bait needs is some eyes. And the ones I've decided to go with are these yellow look back eyes. I think they fit the bait pretty nice. So we're gonna go in with a little dab of glue. Now it looks like a scared little bait fish looking back at its predator. All right. And there we have it. One pretty clean, nothing too crazy bait fish, shiner, whatever you want to call it. Looks pretty clean. If you have not seen my other video where we did more of a crazy paint job, it was posted, it should be the last video that was posted. I can link it below, or actually I'll have it pop up at the end of this video so you can watch it. I also think I'm going to do one more of these, but I'll film it as a short and get that posted as well. So let me know what you guys think. Will this catch a crappie, or should I put it on the shelf? All right, I'm gonna get some clear coat put on this beautiful little bait, and we will come back and take a look at what it looks like all finished up.